about time that we get some news on Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, and we have got a ton, and I mean a ton, to go on ahead and discuss. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Blitzwinger, and welcome back to a brand new Blitz News update. And today we're going to go on ahead and discuss the brand new interview that Dawn McDermott had given, and she is the lead hub designer at TT Games, and she dropped a lot of news and a lot of great nuggets that we are going to go on ahead and break down. Now, of course, guys, before we get into the video itself, I do want to go on ahead and ask, if you can, hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and turn on your notifications. Also, let me know what is your favorite bit of news from this video as you listen to it, because there's a ton to discuss, including some new characters, including some new gameplay mechanics confirmed, and some new stuff revealed altogether, and honestly, some even technical news about the game as well. And you know what? Let's start there. So first and foremost, we got the confirmation that the game will indeed go on ahead and, at least on the PlayStation 5, take advantage of the newer and faster loading times that the SSD, or the solid state drive, affords these new generation of consoles. So I'm guessing, since that would be applicable to the PS5, same thing would apply to the Xbox Series X, which means that we are going to have much quicker load times. Not that that's been a particularly big issue with Lego games, but for example, when you travel from hub world to hub world in a game like, let's say, Lego Batman 3, there is a bit of a lull period where you have to wait for the game to actually load. It seems like in this game, we're not going to have to deal with those loading times, or at least not to the same extent. Of course, we won't actually know how that will play out until we have the game in our own hands. But on a bit of a downer, she did go on ahead and actually confirm the fact that, unfortunately, at launch, the game is not going to take advantage of ray tracing, the DualSense controller, or the 3D audio that the PS5 has. So that's a bit of a bummer, but I also found it interesting how it was phrased. She did specifically say that at launch, which means that, who knows, maybe as the game continues to be updated down the line, there will be elements that will be added that will take advantage of at least the DualSense and the 3D audio. I don't know how likely the addition of something like that takes advantage of ray tracing will be included, but who knows? I guess time will tell. So with that out of the way, let's go on ahead and discuss some of the more general updates. So first of all, there was an update in regards to having this extra time. How is it beneficial for them? How has the team at TT Games taken advantage of this extra time? And really, the focus there was pretty much on just polishing up everything that they have introduced, because interestingly enough, this is something that I did not personally know. I don't know how I did not know that, but this was something that I literally just discovered during this, or from this interview, and that was the fact that the game is actually built in a brand new game engine, which probably explains for several reasons. I mean, aside from everything that happened in 2020, but the fact is that anytime that a game studio has to go into a new game engine, usually that tends to result in a longer development cycle, just because they have to create everything new. They have to create new character models. There's very few times where you can like port stuff over and reuse things. So you really have to start from scratch. Now, on one hand, obviously that's really, really exciting. We'll see how this new game engine works, how it looks. Will it be a substantial step forward in visuals? Because I will say that even in the trailer for this game, it's very noticeable that the lighting effects, for example, for the game look spectacular. From just the shine from the lightsabers and the blasters and everything looks really, really cool. So I think that that has a ton of potential. Of course, I know some people would validly so bring up that anytime you go into a new game engine, there's an issue of more lag or glitches and things like that. We'll see. Obviously, again, that's something that I'm hoping, based on the fact that they have all this extra time, that we won't really run into. And plus, I don't particularly, somebody who has played myself, who has played a lot of Lego games, I don't particularly look at Lego games as very glitchy. Yes, every now and again, maybe I'll run into some weird lag or some weird glitch, but it's very, very far and few between. So I doubt that we'll see a big type of issue with this game like we've seen with maybe something like Cyberpunk. So I have to say that the other thing that definitely stood out was the focus on not having a linear path for this game, which is something that we knew, but of course, if you didn't, I want to go on ahead and reaffirm that yes, indeed, when you drop into the game, you have the freedom to experience Star Wars however the heck you want, which is super duper cool. I think that it actually is very cool, just in the sense that I personally know some people who were introduced to Star Wars just by watching the prequels. I know some people who really loved the original trilogy, and that was the way that they were actually introduced to Star Wars. So maybe they will play their version of Star Wars by going into that original trilogy. But then I'm certain that there are people that were introduced to Star Wars with the new trilogy, and maybe they prefer to play and enjoy Star Wars in that order. So they'll play the first story that they experience because that's the story that resonates for them most, which I think is super duper cool. And I think that, again, it's a really cool factor that, unlike all the other LEGO games where there's a very linear story, it's like you go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 and so on and so forth until you get to the crescendo and to the climax of the story with some epic finale and boss fight. Here, it's all up to you. You can go on ahead and play the story however the heck you please. You can start with episode 1, then jump to episode 7, then go back to episode 4. It's really up to you, which I think is super duper cool to see. Now, from there, let's discuss some of the gameplay reveals. So on the gameplay side of things, we got quite a few interesting nuggets. So first and foremost, they did confirm, or there was a confirmation from Dawn about the aim down sights. So for blaster fire, when you're using the blaster weapons, obviously, I don't see any type of aim down sights system for like lightsabers. That would be kind of odd, I guess, but who knows? Maybe that's something that could be implemented in future games. But aim down sights will be available for blaster fire. They kind of done some things like this in like the last Lego Star Wars game, the Force Awakens one. It was sort of like mini game sections of the game, but it seems like it's going to be an actual system in the game. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that is implemented. Again, something that is very exciting on the gameplay side of things is also a brand new upgrade system, which to me sounds unbelievably exciting. This is something that I've been kind of, hitting the drum on and banging the drum and just saying, please, oh, please add some more RPG elements to these Lego games, because I think that would give them even more legs and would make the games much more fun to like continue to go through if there's an upgrade system that is really intriguing and there's a lot of details to it. So this sounds epic. A brand new upgrade system is definitely exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that will actually play out within the game itself. Then there was a discussion about the quest system. Of course, if you don't know, typically speaking in all LEGO games, you pretty much have your main quest or your main missions, which are completed just by playing through levels, but you also then have a bunch of quests to complete. And usually those quests result in unlocking gold bricks or mithril bricks or whatever type of brick that is appropriate for that particular world, and sometimes also character rewards. Well, it seems like they have gone ahead and invested a lot of time into the quest system in this game, because it is going to be quite a bit more in depth. And in fact, you're actually going to be able to track your missions through a data pad, and that data pad will keep track of missions and quests that you've completed and which ones maybe you are on the way to complete. And the other cool thing is that it seems like there's going to be like multiple stages to a quest. So it's not just going to be like go from here to here. It's going to be like multiple parts to a quest, which sounds exciting. Again, builds on the whole idea of this being a much more like RPG game, which I think is really, really cool. And that same data pad also will allow you to go on ahead and mark multiple quests together. So you don't have to just be working on one quest at a time. You can go on ahead and do multiple quests at once, which is super duper cool. Then there was a discussion of something called random encounters, which kind of made me think of Pokemon, but in this game, it's actually going to apply to spaceship battles. So basically, I guess it would be best if I literally gave you the example that was given by Dawn here. And she said that when you're flying in space, or in the, let's say, the space portion of Tatooine, because basically every planet or moon is going to have the landed area, like the area that you can actually be on, but then also have the open space portion. So you are in that open space portion of Tatooine. That's where you can stumble across these random encounters. And what does that exactly mean? So you'll stumble upon dogfight that is taking place between the Empire and the Rebel forces. And before you engage in battle, I know what you're thinking, probably like, oh, okay, well, I'm sure they're going to make us fight for the rebels. No, the cool thing here is that you actually get to choose. So before you engage in that random encounter, you get to pick whose side you want to be on, the rebels or the Empire. So again, I think that that variety is really cool and very, very neat to see. But here's another exciting element, is that the random encounters will not just be those spaceships that you would get to use in battle, but there's also going to be a special random encounter called the Capital Ship. And these are going to be like a larger scale ship. And if you manage to go on ahead and shut those down and disable them, then you can actually board the ship and go inside the ship. So typically the random encounter would be space battles using the spaceships that you unlock from the different mythos of Star Wars. But then if you go on ahead and come across a capital ship, you get to hop onto the ship and go into more traditional LEGO gameplay, which I think is super duper cool. Now, last but certainly not least, discussions on the character front, as well as details about the moons or the worlds that we get to explore. So once again, we do have confirmation of 23 planets slash moons with 28 unique locations, which was kind of interesting phrasing. I think some people misinterpreted this to think that there's 28 planets, because I saw multiple people tweet at me and message me and tell me like, hey Blitz, there's actually 28 planets. I'm like, it literally says there's 23 moons slash planets, but there will be 28 unique locations, which I think basically implies that you're gonna have kind of like iconic areas maybe. So let's bring up the example of Jabba's palace, right? So it's going to be located as part of a planet, but then maybe the location of Jabba's palace is accessible as its own thing, where you explore the inside of Jabba's palace as well. So that's kind of the example there. I hope that makes sense. Still 23 planets slash moons, but 28 locations or unique locations are also confirmed. So now let's get to the character front. On the character front, there was a confirmation of, once again, this was something that I don't understand how people misinterpreted so greatly, but several people had pointed out and were messaging me and talking about this on my Discord, saying, hey Blitz, there's 800 plus characters in this game. And I was like, well, that's incorrect, because what Dawn said is that she said there are 800 plus unique characters in the game, meaning just characters that are in the game that might necessarily not be playable, because she does specifically mention that there will be over 300 playable characters. So I'm not trying to say like and downplay it like, oh yeah, only 300, as if that's like a few, because 300 characters is a massive roster and would definitely make this the biggest roster that we have gotten in a LEGO game. Very, very exciting, of course, but I do want to mention that again, 800 characters is not quite the number of characters that will be playable in the game, but there are 800 plus unique characters that have been created for the game. So again, a bit of a distinction there. The other cool thing is that we did actually get confirmation of 3 characters, and that would be Yaddle. So if you're a fan of Yaddle, you got that character added into the game. The Wampa has been confirmed as a playable character, which I'm sure is going to be a big fig. It has to be, right? And then of course you have Babu Freak. So if you're a fan of Babu Freak from the more new trilogy, one of the most adorable characters from this new trilogy that we got for Star Wars, you can be happy, because Babu Freak will indeed be playable in LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. And so there you have it, guys. Lots and lots of news to discuss there. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about the gameplay announcements, like this whole aim down sight system, this whole idea that the quests are now going to be a lot more intricate? I personally am super stoked about this whole new upgrade system. I really hope that it's not just this vague marketing term being thrown here. I really hope that it does make a substantial difference, where like I could use studs to like power up my character in a certain way, whether it be maybe add extra hearts, maybe have extra damage, just something like that. I think would be so cool, and something that is kind of been lacking in LEGO games is that little bit of extra depth from an RPG perspective. I think would be really cool to see. So regardless, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Maybe one of the character reveals was your personal favorite announcement. I still want to hear from you guys. Of course, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I'll hopefully get y'all here next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye bye, everyone.